All right, guys, welcome into my official NFL Top 10 best bets for week number 16, along with 3 of my best 3-team moneyline parlays. And we've also got other data to talk about, a lot of weather impacting these games. But guys, the last 3 weeks, I don't want to brag too much, but it's 6-3, 6-3, 5-3-1. And those are good records against the spread for the NFL. Maybe not for college, but for the NFL, 5-3-1 is okay, but like 6-3, I've been nailing these games. I finally figured the NFL out. It's taken me a while late in the season, but we finally have, and we're really going to utilize the weather to our advantage in these predictions. So we've got the Jaguars, this game at the Jets, the under 37.5, and then I do have a reason. Guys, we've got a 100% chance of rain, cold 40-degree rain throughout the entire game. I understand 37.5 for a Jacksonville offense who's really been playing better with Trevor Lawrence. You wonder, that's a low number. Maybe there's value on the over, but you've got to look at the weather forecast. I mean, we're talking about consistent 100% chance of rain. It's going to be raining every second of this game. Jacksonville is a warm weather team. I would go in on Trevor Lawrence prop bet, total yards under or passing yards under, Christian Kirk receiving yards under, Zach Wilson passing yards under, Garrett Wilson receiving yards under. There's going to be very little passing in this game due to the overall weather. And I think you're looking at maybe something like 20-17 or even less. And the under 37.5. It's not a big number. This line has really come down due to the weather, but I think it's either going to stabilize at 37.5 or maybe even drop to 37 or 36.5 because the weather report is not getting any better. So we're going to go in on the under. It's a short week. Mike White is still out. Not good news for the Jets. We saw they just lost the game 20-17 in nice weather. They do have a good defense, and I know Trevor Lawrence has been playing better. I've been a big lover of Trevor Lawrence. I said he was going to play really well towards the back end of this year, but this is just a very tough matchup against a good defense in a really bad weather situation, so I'll take the under there. Next, we have Saints at the Browns, the under 31.5. So this is the lowest over-under of the season. The only lower over-under I've seen this year was actually a college game. I believe it was Iowa and maybe Minnesota. The over-under on that was like 30.5. And those two, that was not because of the weather. Those two offenses were so bad that was the over-under. But guys, you look at this game, 12-degree game time temperature, sustained winds, meaning the entire game, it's going to be 25 to 35 miles per hour winds. You can't kick in that. You cannot pass in that. A dome team like New Orleans will not be able to operate in that weather. Deshaun Watson is still rusty. That offense is still, looks like the Browns offense really isn't going to be fixed until next year. They're just going to have to deal with Deshaun Watson being rusty. Overall, I would take Andy Dalton under in total passing yards, Deshaun Watson under in total passing yards. The over-under in the first half, I think, is 16.5. I would take the under. It's going to be very hard to operate an offense in these kind of conditions. The wind chill is going to be -15, but it's not even just that. The winds at 35 miles per hour throughout the entire game, it is going to be very hard to score. You're looking at a 10-7 type game. There's a reason the over-under is this low, and people are going to say, well, there's value on the over. But guys, again, there's a reason it's this low. That Iowa game that had the over-under at 31, that game ended, I think, 13-10. I said the over-under in that game should be like 28, but they couldn't make it low enough. This is a situation where Vegas can't make it low enough. Because if you make it 29 or something, then you really run a risk of everyone going in on the over and it hits. So they're at 31.5 right now. I'll still take the under in that one. The Giants plus 3.5 at the Vikings. The New York Giants 8-2 against the spread as underdogs this season. But guys, on top of that, let's just be honest, the Vikings are due for a loss after winning that game last week, down 33-0. Both of these teams play extremely close games. It's going to be a higher scoring game, and I see the Giants needing these wins coming out on the road. Their defense is playing better. They just had a really big win on the road in Washington. Again, the Vikings are a lot worse than their record says they are. They're due for a loss. And the Giants do very well against the spread. And I love the 3.5 point mark because even if you get a Vikings walk-off field goal, it doesn't matter. Or if you get like a Vikings 1 or 2 point win, it doesn't matter. You still get the cover at plus 3.5. The Lions minus 2.5 at the Panthers. So this is a situation, the Lions are just ridiculous right now. And I'm not going to do the trendy thing and say, oh, they're due for a loss. They're 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 games. I'm not going to disrespect it. I'm just going to say, you know what? They're on a run. Let's just use it to our advantage. And really, the Panthers need to lose these games. They know they need to lose them to get a better draft pick. They're trying to get a franchise quarterback. There's no reason for them to win. They traded Christian McCaffrey, so the Lions, very young team that's motivated possibly to try and make the playoffs and get some much-needed playoff experience, get really energized that fan base. They're going to get the win, and at 2.5, we saw the Steelers go into Carolina and easily beat them last week, and I predicted that they would win that game as 3-point underdogs. Now I'm saying the Lions will continue their great, record against the spread and win this game and move to 8-0 in their last 8 games against the spread. Next, we've got the Seahawks at the Chiefs, the under 49.5. It's just simply too cold to have an over-under operating around 50. Also, no Tyler Lockett for Seattle. It seems like Geno Smith, his magic carpet ride has kind of petered out. Also, Chief home unders are 6-1 this season, so Vegas seems to be overshooting the, overall points in Chiefs home games. And again, guys, I just don't think the Seahawks are going to score enough. Now, last week, I was in on the under in the Houston-Kansas City game, the under 48.5. Unfortunately, the only reason that game went over was due to overtime. And also, Houston scoring 24 points is a total outlier. That was shocking. So I'm going to trust the process. I'm back on the Chiefs, the under, due to the weather, due to Seattle, really without Tyler Lockett, probably not generating much of anything in extreme cold temperatures. I'll take the value on the under there. The Ravens minus 7.5 versus the Falcons. The temperatures under 30 degrees for a dome team in Atlanta. Desmond Ridder against the Ravens D. I'm concerned that the Falcons might not score 10 points. The Ravens have one of, if not the best defenses in the NFL. I was watching them against the Browns, and they're just so sound. They're so good, and they're going to feast on Desmond Ridder. I'll take Desmond Ridder over 1.5 interceptions. I'll take Desmond Ridder under in terms of passing yards. I'll take the Falcons team total under whatever it is. The Ravens win this game. They might win like 20-9 or something like that. They should get Lamar Jackson back, and 7.5 is not a great number to bet. But this is going to be a thorough domination by the Ravens defense at home in a great cold environment for good defense against a young quarterback who really didn't do a ton last week. I know they ended up covering in New Orleans, but it was really a backdoor cover. I will take the Ravens to win this game big at home, coming off their loss to the Browns. The Commanders plus the 7 at the 49ers. I just think it's great value for the Commanders. Washington 6-2-1 against the spread in their last 9 games. That does include the Sunday Night Football loss to the Giants. And guys, for as much as we love Brock Purdy is without Deebo Samuel. He's still a rookie. He's still a 7th round pick. And the Commanders have a good defense. They're plus 7. I could see the 49ers winning this game 20-17. Maybe worst case scenario, it's a push. But the Commanders do this thing where they randomly hang in games with Taylor Heineke. To me, this is a closer, low-scoring game. I really do like the 49ers' overall roster talent. They're really good. But 7 is just too great a value, even though the Commanders are coming off that disappointing loss. I did say they were going to lose outright when they were 3-point favorites against the Giants, or 4-point favorites, and they end up doing that. But now I'm actually reversing it. I'm backing on the Commanders because they're good value after the overreaction that people had after their home loss last weekend. So great value for the Commanders. No Deebo Samuel for San Francisco, and Brock Purdy, for as good as he's he's still a 7th round rookie. Let's just call it what it is. The Cowboys -5 at home versus the Eagles. I think this line just moved to -4.5. Dak Prescott, 23-9 against the spread versus the NFC East in his career. And guys, I am betting on Jalen Hurts to not play in this game. There's simply no reason to possibly rush him back other than he wants to win the MVP, which seems kind of selfish. So I think what's going to happen, they'll sit him down for this game. Again, even if he's technically healthy, might as well rest him an extra week. If you guys, a lot of people don't know, this is a short week for basically everyone with most of the games taking place on Saturday. So it is a short week for the Eagles. And to me, the Cowboys coming off that tough loss in Jacksonville, they were leading pretty much that entire game. It was kind of an aberration. I did say they were going to lose, and they did. But guys, now they're back home. I know the Eagles have been good, but if they're playing Gardner Minshew, the way Dak Prescott plays against the NFC East. And guys, another thing I'll say, Dak Prescott under half of an interception. He's throwing interceptions like crazy. He will correct it. He'll get it under control. It's the same thing that happened to Josh Allen midseason when I said start betting under a half interception on the Josh Allen props because he was throwing too many of them and he knew he needed to cut down. Dak Prescott will not throw an interception against Philadelphia. They'll win this game. This is the 425 game. I've got the Cowboys -5 in that one. And next we have the Chargers. This is the Monday night game, -4 at the Colts. The Chargers are due for a win. They're 5-2, the Chargers are due to cover. And honestly, I think they're going to cover this game really easily. They're 5-2 against the spread on the road. The Colts, really, there's no motivation for them to win this game. Jonathan Taylor is out. Their offense is going to do very little. We know the Chargers situation getting more and more healthy. Justin Herbert in a dome should be fine. I will take the Chargers to finally truly have a breakout on offense and win this game fairly easily. Really, it's a situation where the Colts should roll over and die with without their best player, Jonathan Taylor. Also, again, they need to be losing games. You want to get a best pick as possible. If I was the Colts, I would lose out and try and trade whatever I could to get Bryce Young in that dome. Remember, you've got Paris Campbell, you've got Michael Pittman, you've got Jonathan Taylor, you've got a good offensive line. Lose, lose, lose. Lose the rest of your games. You're sitting Jonathan Taylor. He's done. He's done for the year. Keep him out. Lose all your games. Get as high of a pick as humanly possible. And then if you have to trade up to get Bryce Young, that's what I would do if I'm Indianapolis. That would be my strategy personally. And then when it comes to some smart money bets, these are the bets that the professionals are making. Jaguars at the Jets, the under 37.5. There's a ton of money on it, and it's due to the weather. I mean, it's going to rain the entire game. I'm not kidding. The Bengals at the Patriots. Bill Belichick home unders are very profitable. The Bengals, for as much as they scored last week, it was mainly due off of a lot of turnovers by the Bucs and really an implosion by their offense, so the under 41.5 there. The Raiders at the Steelers, the under 39. This is a situation where it will be single digits, so that's tough for a Raiders team on the road. And then you do have the Packers plus the 4 at the Dolphins on Christmas Day. I really like the Packers here in this situation. Even if the Dolphins win, I like the little 4-point buffer to where the Dolphins could win on a higher scoring shootout, maybe by a field goal, and you still get it. And then also the over 49.5, which I also do really like. I see this game being a higher scoring game. The NFL is going to want this to be a higher scoring game on Christmas. Warmer weather. Aaron Rodgers versus Tua. I see Rodgers. I like him over 2.5 touchdown passes. I like Tua Tagovailoa over in passing yards because I think the Dolphins will be throwing a ton in that one. And then when it comes to my top parlays of the week, we do have the Bills money line at the Bears. Mainly when it comes to parlays, I'll pretty much only do money line just because it's so hard to win them, especially in the NFL. So I see the Bills beating the Bears. Josh Allen is really trying to get back into the MVP race. The Bears might keep it close enough to cover the 9, but give me the Bills to win this game. Saints at the Browns, I have to take the under. To me, it's just free. I'll be honest, I think it's free. And then we're going to go in on the Chiefs on the money line versus the Seahawks. I would be shocked if Patrick Mahomes, with possibly an MVP in his sights, loses to a depleted Seahawks team who's trending downward at home without Tyler Lockett. Moving to my second parlay, the Ravens money line versus the Falcons. Horrible matchup for a rookie quarterback in cold weather. That Baltimore defense is no joke. They're no joke. The Commanders plus the 7 at the 49ers. I just like the value. Even if they lose, that's a nice 7-point buffer to have. The Cowboys money line versus the Eagles. Again, if Gardner Minshew is playing, I would say it's virtually a lock. I will take the Cowboys there. And then my third and final parlay, Packers plus 4 at the Dolphins. I do agree with the professionals. I like the Packers here to keep this game close, and I also like a higher scoring game. The Bucks money line at the Cardinals. So the Buccaneers really are trending right now. They've gone to -6.5. It's due to the Cardinals, honestly, probably trying to lose. They've got a lame duck coach. Kyler Murray is out. I mean, Colt McCoy couldn't generate anything in Denver. I don't know if the Buccaneers are going to cover. I did see a stat where Tom Brady, in his last 17 night games, because this is a night game technically, it's the 8:30 game on Christmas, Tom Brady is 2-15 against the spread, so that's why I am not betting on the Bucks -6.5. I'm staying away from it, but I do think they win this game against an Arizona offense who just is horrible, and really they should be losing these games. The Chargers money line at the Colts, I talked about this one. I see the Chargers having no problems on Monday Night Football in a dome at Lucas Oil. So guys, those are my top week number 16 bets and parlays. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.